It seems we have a mystery on our hands. Hello friends! Today we can be doing a video I do every single year where I basically chat through all the murder mysteries I've read in the past year that I would recommend to each and every person out there. I do this video around this time every single year, and it's basically looking back on every single murder mystery I read in the past year, and any that I gave a 4-star or above I want to recommend to you. I read 29 murder mysteries in the past year, and here we've got 12 that I'd really recommend, which is kind of sad because that's like a 50% success rate. But well, not really, because there's books that I gave a 3.5 or even a 3, which is passable. But this is anything that I would really recommend. That's a 4-star above that I think is really good quality. Dido's come to stand next to me as I'm filming this. Hello! You want to say hello? You can just stand here if you want. Come on, you love the camera, don't you? You love it. Oh my god, look at her face. I can't take it. But yes, as someone who I think, I don't want to call myself a murder mystery expert, but I'm quite the connoisseur of murder mysteries. This is any that I would really recommend that you pick up. Also, there's some here that like, you know, murder mystery is a bit of a nebulous thing nowadays. Some books kind of skirt the line, have combinations of other things with a murder mystery. This is anything that I think, you know, is close enough to a murder mystery to make the list. But before we get into it, I just want to give a brief shout out to a partner I've been working with a lot, Magic Mind, which I absolutely adore. They do these mental performance shots that I've honestly had such a brilliant reaction to. They reduce my stress. I find I'm so much more productive when I use them. And I've got a code that you guys can take advantage of, which is books20, and that will get you up to 48% off the first subscription for the next 10 days or 20% off for a one-time purchase. Okay, let's get into the books. The first one is right here behind me, but I can't get it out of the bookshelf without like 20, it's there, okay? And all of these would need to come out, and all of these would need to come out in order to get this one book out, and I'm not doing it.
Part of me thinks I can't really be bothered, I'd just rather eat my meal and go home.
The bookshelves are in a state, but I'm gonna be gone soon. Teaser, you'll find out in my next video, more about that. Let's not talk about that yet. It's right here. I couldn't get it out, but it is When the Stars Go Dark by Paula McLean. Now, I am going in order of like when I read them. So I read this I think in February last year. It's been a while. And this one is a little bit of a police procedural murder mystery. You've got, I believe, kind of girls that are going missing, and there is a detective brought into the town to kind of uncover what's going on. And it's, you know, it's a fairly typical plot, right? There's nothing I don't think special about the plot. But what I did think was special about this book is it had an intelligence to it. It had an integrity to it. It had like a maturity to it. It's not like a silly fun time like a lot of murder mysteries and thrillers are, which I enjoy also. But it just, I think it was written very well. I think it was paced very well. Like this is like, I gave this 4 stars, right? And I read it so long ago. And I do think it's a bit forgettable because of the nature of the plot being so like done, but I almost think that was purposeful, that it was like a very generic plot, but I think it's almost like done very well, you know, like it's done to a great standard. Is it going to blow your socks off? Absolutely no. But if you're looking for something along those lines, detective with a past, you know, in the town and girls going missing and like a true crime element and like all these elements, I think it does them all almost perfectly, you know? So I don't have a ton to say about that one because I did read it a long time ago, but I did really enjoy it. Then we have Night Film by Marisha Pessl. Now this one, it's a murder mystery. We have got Ashley Cordova, who is the daughter of a very well-known underground horror film director, is found murdered. And we are following through the eyes of an investigative journalist who's spent a lot of time kind of examining this family's history and this family's secrets. And, you know, it's a chonker. This book is how long? Like 560 pages, almost 600 pages. But I do think this is like, you know, a bit of a magnum opus of a book. I say this often, I love a book where you can tell so much has been poured into it. I think of Babel by R.F. Kuang. I think of The Secret History. I think of like, what else? What are big books that just like, they don't have to be long, but they feel like Catherine Arden's books, I often feel like this. They feel big. They feel like a lot's been poured into them, right? And I feel like a lot has been poured into this one. It is semi-mixed media. I don't want to show you too much, but there's like web files for some of it. Although the majority of it is kind of a narrative, but like there's more like Wikipedia pages and stuff. It is long. It probably could be trimmed a little bit, and the ending's a little bit crazy, but it's a book that you read and just go like, wow. Like you could have taken 10 10 years to write this, and I feel like it would have been worth it. You know what I mean? So yeah, if you're looking for something a little bit mixed media, something that's a little bit unusual, you know, I think there's a lot of things that it plays with that isn't typical in a book. I think it's a very unique book. So they're kind of like polarizing opposites. When the Scales Go Dark is a very generic book done well. I think this is a very unique, interesting, you know, clever, in like, you know, a unique way, right? Pushing the boundaries of stuff book. But I kind of would almost recommend them to the same people. I think I read them around a similar time to one another, and I feel very similarly about them, but they are so different. But they're just both doing what they set out to do very, very well. Next, I have got the 2 Lady Hardcastles I read this year.
I wasn't expecting that at all.
We've got I don't know what numbers they are, 9 and 10 maybe in the Lady Hardcastle series. I think I gave both of these 4.5s. I love these. If you are watching this video looking for a cozy murder mystery and you have not even tried out the Lady Hardcastle series yet, please, what are you doing? Switch off the video right now. I don't care about any other book. If you're looking for a cozy historical murder mystery, look no further. You don't need to read anything else. Being deadly serious.
I love it. I mean, I'm so passionate about it.
I love this series so much. I always say listen to the audiobooks. The audiobooks are like the peak of how to read these books. The audiobook narrator is incredible, but we're following Lady Hardcastle and Flo, her maid Flo, as they solve murder mysteries together. And one of these was a apple orchard, right? I'm pretty sure they are cider related murders taking place. And an act of foul play is like a theatre death, and they're just so fun. I love them. They're like my comfort books. They're palate cleansers. I just adore them, guys. I love these books so much. I have so much fun with them. They're just always a wonderful time. Guys, if you have followed me for like longer than like 6 months and you haven't tried out a Lady Hardcastle yet, I fully don't know what you're doing. Like, I don't know what your game plan is in life.
We need this. This is essential. This is a crisis.
Just pick up the audiobook of A Quiet Life in the Country. My favourite one is maybe even still the second one. I love the second one in the series. And just the deeper you get, the more comfort these characters give you. I just love them. Love them, love them, love them, love them. Next we have a few, actually a lot of the rest of these are like 2024 releases. Apparently 2024 was a good year for, for murder mysteries. We have got first Miss Austen Investigates. I think this was maybe the first 2024 release I bought last year. I remember vividly going in and buying this. It's Jane Austen solving a murder mystery. Yeah, it's just a fun, silly, fun time. This was a 4-star for me. A lot of these actually that are coming up with like solid 4 stars for me. How many 5 stars do we have on the list? One. We have 1 5-star. A couple 4.5 star, a couple 4.5s, but we have 1 5-star. But I'm picky. What can I say? I'm picky when it comes to murder mysteries. I'm very, very picky. I'd love to read more. That's kind of sad though. 1 5-star murder mystery. I mean, I didn't have many 5 stars last year. I had like what, 15? Maybe 16, so like the odds aren't in the favour. Anyways, yeah, this is Jane Austen solving a murder mystery, and her brother in real life, it's all like her real family in real life are the characters in this, and one of her brothers had learning difficulties and he is framed for the murder in this one, or like, you know, the police want to accuse him of being the murderer, and so she gets involved with solving it because she doesn't want, she knows her brother is innocent, basically. And I loved it. It's just so fun. It's so fun reading Jane Austen solve. It's like my 2 worlds colliding. I mean, has there ever been a book that's more made for me? Jane Austen solving murder mysteries? I don't think so. I think this is it. But yeah, I just loved it. I had so much fun. I do think the writing in this is a bit debut-y, so I would prepare yourself for that. Like, this is a debut, and at times I think you could tell that. But if you love Jane Austen and you love murder mysteries, you have to read this. It's a fun, silly, goofy, fun time, right? It's not gonna win the Booker Prize, you know? It's like...
No shade. No shade.
It is what it is, right? You know what this is when you look at it. But I really enjoyed also just how much her real family are brought into this. Her cousin, who played a big part of her life. Like, I think if you're looking to read more stuff, it's not just Jane Austen thrown in as a character, right? Like, it's set at the school that her parents ran, and, you know, all of her family and the stuff that her family went on to do. It's set at a very specific time in history, and there's stuff that went on happened to her family that is kind of hinted at. So I think if you're looking, I mean, obviously it's not non-fiction, but if you've read some non-fiction about Jane Austen, I think you would really benefit from this, because you'll kind of see what she's doing with all the characters and the siblings. You know, Jane had like so many siblings. So I really, really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun reading it. Then we have How to Solve Your Own Murder by Kristen Perrin. This was another release that came out last year. It made it into the Goodreads Choice Awards. I didn't read it then, I read it near the start of the year. In the 1950s, a woman is told, you're going to be murdered, babe. You're going to be murdered. She spends her whole life trying to figure out who's going to murder her, keeping like information on everyone in her life, keeping documents, a crime board, and then she's murdered. Shock horror. She's murdered when she's like 80 or something. And her great niece arrives from London and ends up trying to solve it. Again, this is a debut. I feel like you can see that in some of the writing. And I do feel like it's a little bit forgettable. I've read a lot in the past year of like cozy, quaint English town murder mysteries. And I just feel like I imagine the town the same in my brain. I have like, I can picture it now. I have a cozy, quaint English town murder mystery setting. Like the Magpie Murders is another one, and I can then confuse them in my brain because I've imagined them the same. Does that make sense?
You're what? I'm you.
There were times in this one I remember the main character annoyed me with like the decisions that she made, or like it would, why am I telling you negatives? But anyways, decisions she made, or that she'd come to conclusions way too easily. I'd be like, how you put two together and made 8? Like, that's what she was coming to realizations that were correct, but without like earning it. Does that make sense? But for the most part, I would say this is a really fun, cute, quaint murder mystery. It's going to be a series, just like Miss Austen Investigates are both going to be series, and I am going to continue both. This had a split timeline, but I enjoyed that element of it. I thought all the characters in the town were very, very interesting. So yeah, both of these are just like cutesy. Again, not going to blow your socks off, not going to win the book prize, but fun. Then we have a very unique one. This is by far, I would say, the most unique one on this list. We have The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. Now, this is technically classed as fantasy. I was in the fantasy category for Goodreads Choice Awards, but it's a murder mystery. It's a part Sherlock Holmes murder mystery, part fantastical. And I really, really enjoyed this. It's very, very unique. You're basically following this guy who is the Watson character in a Sherlock and Watson duo. The Sherlock kind of like doesn't want to go places, so she'll send him and then he has to report back on stuff that's happening. An Imperial officer is found dead with a tree spontaneously erupting from his body, and it takes them basically into like this big city, this investigation, and like all these people who have power dynamics and the kind of politics of the city and like all these different kind of fantastical elements. There's a lot thrown at you in this, but from what I understand, the series is going to be like episodic, like different storyline in each one, and I just think this is something very unique. I love fantasy mysteries. I love fantasy mysteries. It's not even murder mysteries. So many of my favourite books are like fantasy with a mystery edge to it, you know? And I'm just so glad that something like this is being written. It makes me happy that people are like pushing the boundaries of what the murder mystery genre could do. And I think if you're looking for a fantastical murder mystery, this would be one of my top recommendations. It's a big book. It's a heavy book. There's a lot going into it. There's a lot of characters. I think I struggled with the character names in this. They're very like fantasy names, you know? And sometimes my brain doesn't want to take those in. But again, I thought the character dynamics were very interesting in this. I thought it was very well written. And I thought that the murder mystery was, you know, an interesting resolution, and I'm excited to see how this series grows. Okay, then we're going to get into 3 books that I read for the Goodreads Choice Awards and loved. We have first The Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley. Love it. I love Lucy Foley. I'm a Lucy Foley apologist.
She's incredible. She's a beautiful person. Her talent and brilliance is beyond.
I mean, this is a 4 for me. I had given both the guest list and the Paris apartment 5, but I still had some, I mean, this is maybe a 4.5 actually, if I'm honest with you. I just had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun reading this. This one, oh God, the thing about Lucy Foley is she's gonna do unlikable rich people, and she's gonna do a setting. I love, you know, some of Agatha's best books are like this, a setting for the murder mystery, right? There's no Agatha on this. I haven't read a new Agatha in 2024. I didn't read like a new Agatha novel. I read a short story collection, and then I just read Murder on the Orient Express again in January, but I haven't read a new one. I need to up my Poirot reading a little bit. But anyway, sorry. Lucy Foley does a setting. Like Agatha, Murder on the Express, Death on the Nile, like so many of her books have a great setting, and Lucy Foley, oh, it's set at this like new rich person hotel. The thing about Lucy Foley, oh, she has a finger on the pulse of what is a signifier of wealth. Right, and at the moment it's like health and skincare and like healthy food and like, you know, access to food, oh, it's so interesting. I just think she's a genius. And we find out, we have like flash forwards to the next morning, the Sunday morning. There's been a fire at the hotel and a body has been discovered on the beach. And then we go back in time and we're following all these different perspectives. We're following the founder, the husband, the mystery guest, and the kitchen help. And I just love the formula that Lucy Foley has to her books. This is just so camp, it's so silly, it's so fun, it's so ridiculous. I think again the murder mystery is very, very well plotted. I just love what she does. I love what Lucy Foley does. I'm a Lucy Foley apologist till I die. I don't like The Hunting Party. That's the only one, but I read it right after reading the guest list, and that's just not a fair comparison. But I just think if you enjoyed the guest list, you'll enjoy this. I know the Paris apartment people didn't love, but I do think this has just the setting is so potent. I can almost smell it. I can almost taste it.
I kinda like the smell.
Lucy Foley does settings so well. I'm just thinking about that setting. I'm just there. I feel transported. I feel there, you know? So if you're looking for something with a strong setting, this would be my recommendation. Something that does multiple perspectives with short, snappy chapters, just so compulsively readable. Oh, I just love Lucy Foley. Love her. Love her. Then we have my only 5-star in this video. Can you guess what it is? We all know what it is. Richard Osman, We Solve Murders. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm shocked. This is shocking news.
This is the start of a new series from Richard Osman where we're following a father-in-law and daughter-in-law duo as they solve murder mysteries, and it's a bit more of a jet setting. You know, they're traveling all over the world, espionage, crime. Guys. I love Richard Osman. We know this. That's my man. That is my man.
He wants to marry me.
I don't think there's actually like a quantifier that can like truly describe how much I love Richard Osman's books. Love them. Like, it's so deadly serious to me. I had so much fun in this one. You know, I was worried, you know, what was it going to be like going away from the Thursday Murder Club and these characters that we love, but I really feel like we got to know so many more wonderful characters in this. Steve and Amy's relationship and kind of like how emotionally suppressed they both are, and just the pace at which he moves. He does such short chapters. I think I do love a good short chapter, like 2-page chapters. It just keeps the pace going. And like I would say, I think one of the most masterful things Richard Osman does about pacing is like there'll be 3 storylines that we're following at any given time, and we're like alternating between them each chapter, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then maybe this one subs out, like that one's done and dealt with, so then another one comes in, and we're like constantly like flittering, and then this one comes out and something else comes in. Like there's so much movement and like jostling of storylines and like topics and locations, and he does that so well. I love it. If you haven't read Richard Osman yet, I mean, I don't know what we're doing here, but do I love it quite as much as the Thursday Murder Club? No. The Last Ever to Die, the most recent Thursday Murder Club, one of the greatest books I've ever read. Like, so good. But this is fun, and I had a great time. Next, we have the final one from the Goodreads video. We have Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. This is just a bit of a fun, mixed media murder mystery. There's a podcast element to this. Basically, our protagonist was accused of murdering her best friend, but she has no memory of the evening, so she kind of moved away from this town, but then stuff happens to bring her back, and at the same time there's a podcaster, and the audiobook is mixed media, covering the case and trying to find out the truth of what happened. Do I think this is the perfect book? No. In fact, I often felt like it's a great book and it was actively trying to like undo all the good work it did. I had a few issues with like relationships in this, or the ending, or just how certain things were like enacted, but again, I would say if you're looking for a page-turner murder mystery with a podcast element, if these are buzzwords to you, if you're wanting something quick, if you're wanting something with a bit of like an unreliable narrator, like she's kind of like deadpan about like, oh, maybe I did kill my best friend, I don't know, can't remember it, you know what I mean? Like, deadpan about it. It's a very interesting book. I am intrigued to read for more from Amy Tintera in the future, because like I said, there was so much I loved about this, but there was just also like, it just kept trying to fuck it up. It just kept trying to like mess it up. But again, I'm a sucker for a full cast audio podcast element to a book. I mean, that's already, I'm probably gonna enjoy that book. Like, I'm a sucker for it. It gets me every single time. What can I say? I'm weak and easily manipulated.
I love it. I love it, and it gives me that buzz. It feeds exactly what I want to do.
I think this is a very, again, like some of these other books, very solid release that I think most people will have fun with. Then we have a very interesting one. This one was recommended to me by librarians. We did librarian picks by read video, and I'd never heard of it. And this author is usually a male historical romance author, and there's hints of that in this. But this is their first murder mystery, and I am like praying that this author writes more murder mysteries, because I think this was really wonderful. I think this was a 4.5 for me. It was so close to a 5. This is Death in the Spires by KJ Charles, where it's trying to reheat some of the Secret Histories nachos. It's trying to steal the nachos. It's set in kind of the late 1800s, early 1900s, and in the previous timeline there was a group of friends and one of them was murdered at Oxford. They were all studying at Oxford in like Victorian era. One of them was murdered and it drove the friendship group apart. I know, we've heard this plot many times. And now one of them is trying to uncover the truth of what happened. And again, I just thought this was like, yes, it was reheating those nachos, but it was reheating them perfectly. They're still crunchy. They're still like, yes, it's something read before, but it was so fun to read this done well. There's also a little romance element in this that I thought was really done well and like constrained to the right amount of the book. It didn't overtake the book. The book was still about the murder mystery, but just this setting at Oxford in the 1900s, late 1800s, early 1900s is so vivid again, so like, oh, potent. And I thought the friendship group was done very well. I thought the main character had a very interesting voice and a very interesting perspective and like interesting motivations. Yeah, listen, we've seen this one before 10,000 times, but I had so much fun reading it. I couldn't put it down. I loved the writing style. I really enjoyed the writing style. Like, I thought this was so well written from this author, and that's why I'm begging for more murder mysteries.
What do we have here?
Because I don't really like historical romance. I'm not a big historical romance reader, and so there's not many of this author's other books that interest me, but oh my god, like, this is just so well written, such a good writer, you know what I mean? You read a book and you're like, you can fucking write, babes, you can fucking write. So loved it so much. And then finally we've got a bit of a wild card. At the end of the year I read 7 Christmas murder mysteries, and this is the only one that I gave a 4-star or above, which is not great. Hopefully, I love Christmas murder mysteries. No, one of them was a reread, so there was 2 of them, you know. But anyways, we've got The Christmas Appeal by Janice Hallett. I really enjoyed this. This is a Christmassy murder mystery. There's a dead centre. They're performing a panto. I thought it was very Christmassy and very fun. It's super short. I think if you're looking for a Christmas murder mystery to read this year, I think this would be a great pick. I do think you should have read The Appeal though to fully appreciate it. However, I barely remembered The Appeal and it refreshed me very well. And so I do think probably if you haven't read it, you could read this, although it would spoil some elements from that, kind of, a little bit. Yeah, just the act of them like putting on this panto, and there's a dead centre, and it's all these emails. If you don't know, Janice Hallett is all mixed media, and the Appeal series in particular is kind of all emails and text messages. And I thought that worked better for me in a shorter format. The Appeal is quite long, and it's just a lot of emails. I prefer, if it's mixed media, to be like a variety of mixed media. Whereas I didn't mind it all just being emails in this because it's so short, you know, so the pace of it was really well done. So I had so much fun with this. If you're looking for a Christmas murder mystery, pick this one up. So there we have it, friends. That is all the best murder mysteries I have read in the past year. Hopefully when I do this next year, we're going to have more 5 stars. Hopefully just in 2025 in general, we will have more 5 stars. But let me know if you've read any of these and your thoughts on them. I would love to know all of your opinions. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video very soon. Bye!